Something else I learned this week, or I focused on quite a bit, was my running and
Mhm.
learning how to push off of my toes correctly. And
Mhm.
probably there's quite a few key things I'm learning. Um, One of them is to the way that you push off, and then because you're gonna make a chop, like let's say you have to make a quick explosion, and then 2 steps later you take a chop. And I'm learning how to use my big toes on those big impulses, and yeah, I'm
Awesome.
feeling much better about that. And then another thing that makes it compiles on top of that is my breathing. I've been learning how incredibly important it is to breathe, and it's crazy because you don't really think about it, but it's like the simplest thing that we all can do. Is control our breathing. Let me close this one. Yeah. So what I've been doing with breathing is what you told me before was to breathe with each step and things like that. Like on the way back from hiking, I was, or actually, I've just been doing this ever since. Um, I've been breathing like, so I take, like, let's say I'm pushing off, and then I step onto that one, and then I go onto the next one, and then I inhale on the next 2 steps, and then I'll do stuff like that. And then you can also chop it up to where you just do like one breath and then one exhale, and you know, it's a lot of great stuff. And then the other thing that's also helped me with breathing is, or what the byproduct of breathing is, that whenever I'm walking around, like let's say I'm walking around the city and I walk around a block, and then there's a bunch of stuff going on, you tend to freeze up and you stop breathing for a second, right? But then if you really remember to breathe, then it helps you release and move your body better.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's amazing. It's like the whole gear breathing we talked about last time. You switch gears whenever you amp up the intensity.
Yeah.
Uh, that's awesome. I'm glad you're doing that. I'm glad you're learning how to use your feet properly. That's going to just be honed in even more next phase. I was going to say this. I'm going to recommend this for every athlete from now on. Like you, I have a book assignment for you.
Oh yeah.
Have you read this book?
I think I might have The Power of Now. Who's it by? I've read a book by Eckhart Tolle before, but I'm not sure if that was the one.
Okay, so what I want you to do is either get an Audible or whatever, or audiobook, or however you prefer to read it. I recommend reading this book, and the reason why is that it has very much to do with athletics, but it also really pervades into life. It's pretty prudent for me right now, given what's happened to me recently. But also, I'm starting to realize whatever I learn, I need to share with my athletes because this is really important. So, power of now. The reason why I want you to do this is I want you to learn the idea of presence.
What does that mean?
So, when you hear the word presence, what does it bring up in you? What does it mean for you?
Well, whenever I think of presence and I think of myself, I think about how I influence the things around me whenever I come into interacting on interacting.
Okay. So, I want you to make it even more simple. And the book does a good job of doing this, but like I want you to make it even more simple, right? So you have your thoughts, you have your body, which is like the soma, which is basically this. Soma means body. And spiritual practice, they call it the pain body, right? Then you have something else. So if I were to go spiritual with it, I'd say soul. If I were to go non-spiritual, I would say the observer. If I were to go even more non-spiritual, I'd say You have these three layers, right? You have thoughts, the body, the soul, or the observer, animated body. So oftentimes, and this is something I've been, guilty of, is I have thought that my identity is my thoughts, is the collection of my thoughts. Even though conceptually, which is also again thinking, conceptually, I know that I'm not this. And you can also group emotions in there.
Mm.
I'm not this. I'm not those things. I'm something else that's animating this, and I can literally change the way I experience life. Because you know how I was talking about swerving and all that. Now, this is a way to get even like a hack. Like how you learn about the feet, and the feet was like a hack towards like running and sprinting and your hips, right? A hack towards getting your mind in the right place is practicing this observer mindset. All this means is that so you have a dominant, what I want you to do is start to become really aware of what comes through your head when you're like moving about life, when you're doing athletics. And I want you to be really present, meaning that I want you to really pay attention to what's happening in your body. Pay attention to your environment. Like, is there a tree? Are there birds? Is there something on the ground? Like, really pay attention to details and just observe what comes up in you when you're being present like this. And what I mean by this is that you're going to have like a string of thoughts, things from the past that you think about, emotions that come up, that will just come up. The moment they come up, I want you to feel them and I want you to look at them, but I want you to think about this as a conveyor belt, right? Your thoughts are just moving across a conveyor belt. And you, the observer, you're going to observe these thoughts just go through, and you're not going to latch onto them. So, for example, if I'm walking around and I walk by someone and I think about something I did, I saw someone and that someone reminded me of something that I did that hurt someone else. For example, I'm just going to observe it. Goes through. I'm going to think about, oh, my throat feels a little tight, chest. Okay, breathe, and then okay, but I'm not my thoughts, but I'm observing it. Then I keep walking, see someone else, and then like I have this thought of I need to look kind of cool in front of this person. I want to bring my shoulders back more. So I have that thought come up,
Mm.
move it by. When you start noticing their patterns, start naming these thoughts as patterns. So for example, me hurting someone else, I'm like, oh, that's the regretful pattern. You know, me regretting things I did in the past. Or if I'm trying to look cool, that's the me trying to prove myself pattern. Just keep labeling them as patterns and then collect this data. And over time, your observer, which is whatever animates you, will begin to see that, oh, all these things, all these thoughts are taking me away from the present. Because what is athletics? Presence. You got someone coming at your head, right? You got to juke this person out. And if you're not present for 1 second, game over, right? They get an inch on you. They slide tackle you. They do things that you're not going to be happy with.
Mm.
You know what it's like when you get in your head when you're playing your game and you're like, now I'm in my head. And then you're not thinking about all the different opportunities that are around you had you been present.
Yeah,
That
but
makes sense.
breathing definitely has helped me with that quite a lot, and it really lets you slow things down. Like I actually almost got into a car accident while I was
Mm,
driving today, or not today, Monday, and
mhm.
in that moment, I like my dad, because I was looking behind me going forward, and he was like Raven, and so I looked forward, and I saw that I was gonna hit a car, and I did a, and then I swerved it.
That's good. That's good, man. And breathing is huge. I'm glad you're doing that. Now I want you to layer on this process of like, let it come up, observe it. What is it? What pattern is this? How many times do I have this thought a day? And then don't like latch it. Don't like, oh my God, I have this thought so much, and this is, why do I do that? Just like, okay. Because like really, you're not necessarily, you are not necessarily this. You are not necessarily that. There's something you are that we haven't been able to scientifically prove, right? But at the same time, we are all these things, right? We're all three of these things, but these faculties, I want you to see them as tools as an athlete.
Mm.
Utilize them to your best advantage when you need it. Like, okay, I'm the observer, observing that I got this thought. Okay, well, that's just a thought. You know, I see what it is. Now, what thought do I need in this moment to juke this person out? Okay. Like, and maybe your thought comes up, this guy's too fast for me, right? And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm seeing that, but I'm observing the thought, letting it go by. What do I need to do? How can I use my brain and my body to still get past this person? How can I trick him? Like, you're giving yourself a chance to put a new thought in. But if you let that thought of he's too fast take over your head, you identify with it. He's too quick. He's too quick. I'm too slow. You're just like, okay, I'm thinking he's too fast. That may not be true, but it may not, it may be true too at the same time. But I'm not going to be attached to either outcome. I want to know, what can I do? That's when you allow your brain to really come up with creative solutions. Does that make sense? Is that supportive?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can think of examples of that.
So what I want you to do is to read The Power of Now. The book will pretty much teach you how to do this process really well. Draw on your own insights, make parallels to sport, because it's going to be all over your sport.
Mm.
And your life. It'll diminish the charge you have around a lot of stuff, like, even working out. Let yourself have thoughts come through when you work out too.
Mm.
Yeah, man. So that's my assignment for you for the book. Other than that, because this will be even more important than the 42 different thought patterns. I realize that's why I didn't send it to you, because that's more of a feat. Instead, you just look at the couple of dominant ones that are in your head, process them, get back to being present. And being present means not just
reacting, but acting.
But acting, but also beyond that, it's also listening, being able to actively listen.
Mm.
And not preemptively jump to the next thing. Yeah. So anyway, that's my assignment for you there, man. Any questions?
Let me think. Could you give me an example of you doing this in your own life?
Okay. Sure. I'm going to use this for a personal example, and I'm also going to use it for a workout example. slash athletics example. So I'm going to use it first for athletics and movement example. Okay. I'm dribbling up the court, playing basketball. Somebody shouts out, "He ain't got no handles." Strip that boy. Weak ass handle. Stiff ass handle. All this stuff, right? They shout all this stuff out. Okay. They shout that out. My brain goes into fear. And the thought pattern is, oh man, I don't know if I can get by these defenders. Maybe they're right. Maybe I have a weak ass handle. Maybe I'll just pass the ball. This is the thought, the emotions that come up. Then my body starts to get stiff.
Yeah.
It starts to not stay low. Because I'm not in my body anymore. I'm in my head.
That's a really good point.
This is the case, right? If I'm in my head, there's no way I can make the right decision when it comes to dribbling up the court, getting by these people, making a play, letting my teammates score, helping my team win, right? Because I'm thinking about all these things. And my body is like, okay, well, I'm gonna fall into the fear. Now, what if instead, here comes the interjection, which is me, the observer. Like you've probably heard of Descartes, the philosopher, say, I am. I think, therefore I am.
Yeah.
Right? The I am part is really powerful, right? And the I am part is this, the observer. You can be this third party faculty looking at yourself thinking, looking at yourself doing the things that you're doing and reacting, and be like, okay, they said he ain't got no handle, strip that boy, weak ass handle. I'm thinking, I don't know if I can do this. I'm feeling a little bit of fear. I'm feeling scared. Now, what if instead you just saw these thoughts for what they were, but didn't attach to your body with these thoughts? You're just like, okay, I see it. It's bringing up some like fear. My throat's getting tight. My hands are getting stiff. But this is just a thought, and you let it just go by. Thought, because the thought does not define you, right? And I think that's what we all get caught up on. For a second, you're like, maybe I'm just a weak player. You've defined it. You just define, because you went from this to this to this, and then you reinforce that, okay, I'm a weak ass. I have weak ass handle. I'm there. But if you just said, okay, he's saying this stuff. All right, I'm feeling this. I am feeling it. But it's just a thought. It's just a temporary feeling. What do I want to do? How do I want to act? So after you observe this as a thought, and that's all it is, you choose. You use your brain and you use your body as a tool, like I just talked about, right? Use it as a tool to do what you want it to do, versus following into what you think you are, because this is not your identity. This is just what your body's reacting to, what it may have reacted to since you were young. Like, I've had 35 years of this, you have less, so might as well catch it now. Nip it in the bud. Because once you can do that, bro, then you can shift. What are you going to shift to? My breathing, my toes, my shoulders, my lats, my abs. And that, hey, I can dribble this ball past this person.
Mm.
And you know what? If I can't, I'm going to draw them in so they collapse on me. And I'm just going to pass the ball so my teammate can score. Let them think that I can't do this. And that's cool. It does not define who I am as a player. It does not define me. They're just doing this to get a rise out of me, and that's okay.
Yes.
You
So
also don't want to, what's that?
it's the difference between a calm spirit compared to a chaotic spirit.
Yeah. And that's what's important in sports too, because if you play off anger, you're also going to make bad decisions.
Mm.
So that's an example of sports. Do you want an example of personal life too?
I mean, I think I get it.
Cool. You're good. That's all. That's all I wanted to show you. This is what you need. Okay. This is what you're going to get from the book. Like, really, from the book. The book is a longer book, but it does a good job helping you really understand.
Mm.
But this is the key. So, um, yeah. Any other questions?
Well, it's more of an observation. It's it's sort of it depends on your nature, like I was saying before. It's like whenever whenever you see a challenge approach you, whatever it could be somebody talking to you, it could just be people looking at you, or whatever it could be. The way that you internalize that and then you let it flow out of you, that's the way that you let it flow out. It What I like to do is to think that it doesn't have anything over me, you know, like I got this. I know I can do this, you know. And so you go out and you do it. And it also takes really centering yourself in the moment, because you can get caught up in just the past from a couple seconds ago rather than moving forward, you know. And
Yeah.
you can also go either way, like you can get caught up in the future before it happens, you know.
100%. Yeah. That's the truth. Yeah.
So you
I
just
think
take it slow, man. Take it slow.
yeah, and I think sometimes it gets so overwhelming. Like, if you have so much noise, right? So say, for example, your life situation has a lot of noise, right? Like, you already have this going on in your life, for example. So you got all these like thoughts and things you're dealing with in your personal life,
Mm.
right? All this noise. Then you go play your sport. They say this, it adds to the noise. So now what you have to do is you have to deal with all the noise from what you're already dealing with, plus people shouting at you. This is going to be more intense. This is going to be more intense. And then typically the action that gets taken is not one you're intending. So this is why this process, this kind of like Zen process,
Mm.
should be something that's adopted all the time, not just here, because you want to do it as much as you can, so that when you get on the field, it's one less thing that impacts your body's ability to handle this, this, this.
Mm.
Make your body and mind and, like, your observer, make that container as clear as you can, so that you have space to come up with creative decisions, creative solutions to perform on the field.
Mm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Anything else?
Well, as far as my feet go and playing in football and also running, um, like I told you, I feel like I'm getting much more better with the big toe, but overall the balance in my body has feel like it's shifting a lot more into what it should be.
Mhm.
And whenever I just stand up, I can feel the different imbalances all throughout my body, and it's crazy. Even to my wrists now, I feel my wrist like, I told you I hurt my wrist. Well, the other wrist actually felt like it also needed to be strengthened in basically the same part. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's really insightful to listen to your body and take your time with it. And whenever I'm on the field, sometimes I don't like I should take things a little bit slower. And I feel like that's what using that method more will definitely help me out with that. And the way that I can slow things down is what I was telling you about when like the steps that you take with your big toe are longer and and well, they're just longer than your normal steps. And
Mhm.
because it's longer, you also have more time to react. And so I need to I need to work on doing that all the time whenever I'm out there on the field because anything can happen at any moment.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's awesome, man. I'm glad you're making the connection between. I mean, the feet control so much. Like you're realizing your abs, your shoulder blades, your wrists, your feet. I mean, your wrists and your middle back. They do so much. It's kind of crazy how much it does, but it also makes sense. We're on those things all day. We're having
Mhm.
to. It'd be different if we were like cats or dogs, and we have to use our hands too. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, man, that's cool. That's really cool. I'm glad you're making those connections. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's the power of also doing some of these movements because the movements make you slow down.
Mm. Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
most people just want ba, 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 right? But they miss out on all this like juicy important information. Yeah, exactly. Ba, ba, ba. You know, they just want to explode out of the bottom of the deadlift. They want to do dips, push-ups, and nothing necessarily like wrong with that. It's just it works till it doesn't work, and when it doesn't work, you're forced to go slow.
Mm.
So I'm just like, why not just go slow in the first place, and then you can go fast whenever you can shift gears. Pop, 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 pop. That's cool, man. You're on the right track. You're having good observations. You're starting to see things clearly. It's very inspiring. It's cool to see.
Yeah, dude. It's
Keep it up.
awesome. How are things on your end when working out?
Oh, good, man. I think I'm now a 236 or something like that.
Mm.
I was 270, so 270 minus 236,
Yeah.
whatever.
A lot of weight.
I got to work out today too, so that'll
How
be
does
fun.
that feel, man? You feel much lighter?
Bro, I'm already grabbing the rim again.
Yeah.
Like easy. Let me see. That's 34 pounds.
Mm.
So I'd probably get to like 220 something by like this shirt's kind of baggy actually. I could probably get to 220 probably in about 2 weeks, I think.
Mm.
And then after that, I'm gonna try to drop to 200 in 2 weeks and then 180 in two more. So
That's how to do it, man.
6 weeks, I'll be at 180. Yeah.
Straight. Dude.
I'm gonna be well, I have a lot of muscle, but like I'll be like closer to your weight.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's going well, man. It's going well. Things are going really well.
Cool, dude.
Keep it up, and then because as these phases go on, I got to be able to demonstrate some of the new stuff for you guys. So I have to get ready. Some of the jumping, the cutting, I have to get ready to show you guys how to do all the crazy stuff. So I gotta step up, which I'm cool with. I mean, I'm happy to do it. I think what's really helping me is the presence work,
Mm.
because it can be difficult if someone like me who runs a business who takes care of a lot of clients,
Mm.
and on top of that has to also have a personal life on top of that. It can be
Yeah.
challenging to deal with all these emotions, and then you begin to identify with, okay, you're this person. So that's been the journey, is to undo that so that I can just like enjoy the workout and not be thinking about, oh my God, well, am I being selfish by doing this workout?
Mm.
It's like, no, man. So that's my journey now, is let go of the thoughts, observe, move forward.
Yeah, man. That's that's really important, man, to listen and realize what you need, what you gotta
Yeah,
look out for yourself.
100%. It's hard. It's not easy, but then it's also not hard because the process is actually really simple. It's just this makes it hard.
I feel that.
Cracks me up. Because when I was walking even today, I'm like, I had 4 thought patterns that kept repeating. I was like, and since I'm observing a lot more, I'm like, really, man, again? But you just had this thought like literally 5 minutes ago. Again? And then you start to laugh, you're just like, come on, all right, man. It's like your mind gets found out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh no, I gotta keep, showing what's up. It's like, no, you can't hide anymore. I see you. Stop it. Stop being stupid. Um, yeah, that's good, man. I'm excited for you to read the book. It's a good book. I'm almost done with it. And then the next book after I'll have you read is Practicing the Power of Now, which is going to be a whole another book. No. Yeah, man. This is the same. I think it's the same philosophy that Phil Jackson had for the LA Lakers too, and the Chicago Bulls.
Mm.
All those players do the same thing. Just live life instead. Yeah. But yeah, man, that's all I got. If you got anything more, let me know. If not, I'll let
Well,
you go forth with you.
the place that we went to, it was way out there, man. And when we took like I think Dad posted how many kilometers we walked. It was a lot of kilometers, and
Oh wow.
we got to a waterfall at the end, and we got in the water, and it was way colder than Barton Springs, man. It was
Oh
really
wow.
intense, yeah.
That
Yeah,
sounds dope, guys. Sounds like
it made my body just feel like, you know,
alive. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Your dad sent me pictures of you guys. It was awesome. It looked like a fun time, man.
yeah, it was great, man.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, man. I will send you the new stuff this weekend. So stay on the lookout. I think you're gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be to the point, concise.
All right, looking
But
forward to it.
let me know what insights you draw from the power of now.
All right,
All right, then.
thank you, man.
You're always welcome.
Take care.
See you.